Unsolicited advice.
What you whispering for? Yo, what's unsolicited advice? Take it or leave it. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and they commented on how they didn't expect me to talk the way that I talk. They said that I sound very different than what they expected. And at first I was like, what, is that an insult, or is that a stereotype or something? But then I had to think about it for a minute, and I was like, okay, I try to be well-versed and well-rounded when it comes to certain things. And I try not to do what everybody else does. And then I thought about it for a little longer, and I was like, sometimes you don't realize how some people are stuck in a certain environment so long that they don't culture themselves. They don't think outside the box. They don't go past the city limits. So, sometimes when you speak or you carry yourself a certain way, certain people get confused, they don't understand, or some people take offense. Some people might think you're uppity. It's weird, but I'd always took pride in learning things and opening my mind up to stuff, and researching stuff and just having conversations and stuff. It's the reason why I do what I'm doing right now, is because I like it. I like to talk about things and get a better understanding of things. And the way my voice comes out, I don't know, I just, I could talk a certain way. I could thug it up. I could, whatever I can just keep up with the lingo and do all that. But I always wanted to set myself apart. Of course, a lot of it is due to dating and getting out there and putting myself out there. You kind of want to set yourself apart. And one of the ways that I did was I always said I wanted to talk like I had some sense. Because I wanted to attract a certain type of female. But as I learned, I was like, man, a lot of people aren't cultured. You try to have a conversation with certain people, and it either ends up in an argument or a disagreement, or they look at you as, oh, you think you know everything, or where you get all this stuff from. It's like, well, I'm just, reading, researching, watching the news, or, checking up on things, but pretty much just doing research and just seeking knowledge. So today we're just talking about being cultured, or learning how to be more cultured as a people. And this doesn't have to do with just religions or different races and things like that, just overall with every aspect of life. One of the main things that you have to explore when you want to be cultured is different art forms. And if we want to stick with just art in general, it's good to go and visit museums, art galleries, learn from famous artists, try different artistic mediums, like painting. Some people like to do sculpturing, photography, things like that. Even people that do event planning, sometimes you have to culture yourself and learn different things so you can add it to the events that you put together. I've always looked at that and said, wow, you can always notice when people are dabbling in stuff and culturing themselves, because when they do event planning, they add a little stuff here and there, and you're like, okay, they're starting to add more to their repertoire or whatnot. And I used to get bullied for this as a kid, but this was just how it was. But music is another way to culture yourself. And I used to just listen to everything, because it's not so much of the genre, it's how it sounds to me. I think the first rock and roll album I ever heard was, my dad used to listen to Ozzy Osbourne. He would listen to rap and blues and R&B and country. But he would play this song all the time to scare me. It was called Mr. Crowley or something like that. but he would play it and it just sounded so weird and it scared me, but then it would also intoxicate me. And I'm like, man, you know, how do they make music sound like that? And then, you know, I started doing my research and, you know, I would listen to, as I got older, I think grunge music came out. I started listening to like Nirvana and, you know, No Doubt, Soundgarden. I forget the other one. I remember the dude, his name was Eddie Vedder. Pearl Jam. I listened to them. Queen. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm drawing blanks now. And then I went from that to listening to Johnny Cash. I would listen to country music like Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, George Jones, George Strait. I would hear certain songs. And then I think Garth Brooks came out. Then I found out about Reba McEntire. And I thought Reba McEntire was pretty. You know, I thought she was cute at the time. I was a little young kid. But, you know, you want to discover music of various cultures. You know, like right now, Afro beats is real popular, you know, and you just want to kind of open up your mind. So like if somebody say, hey, you know, you should listen to this, you know, you don't want to tell somebody, oh, I don't listen to that. Like, that's not good. You know, you're being closed-minded just because you're used to what you're used to. And that's the whole reason of culturing yourself, because you never know when you're going to get around a certain amount of people and they're talking about something you have no clue. And it's always good to culture yourself so you can get in that conversation and say, okay, you know, I know about that too. You know, you never know. You might meet new friends, new people, like-minded people, you know, but you don't want to just stick to what's popular. You really want to open up your mind and really expand. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you don't want to just say, oh, well, I just want to listen to Sexy Red or what's the little Glorilla, Meg Thee Stallion. I don't want to listen to, you know, I just want to listen to 21 Savage or Lil Baby, you know, 42 Doug or whoever. You don't want to just stick to one culture. You want to make sure that you're out there and you're listening to like I've been on Thundercat. I've been listening to Thundercat a lot. He plays the bass or whatever, but I like his music. I just started listening to Doechii. I started hearing her name a lot, so I went and checked that out. I was listening to Tim's. Somebody put me on a Lucky Day. Rap-wise, ain't a whole lot of new rappers out that I listen to. I'm trying. I still listen to the old stuff, but you know, and even when it comes to country music, you know, you got a lot of rappers or black artists is moving over to country music because, you know, like I said, it's like a melting pot. Another thing that helps when you're trying to, you know, be cultured or, you know, expand your mind is reading. You know, of course, we're in a social media era. So a lot of people don't buy books anymore. You still have people that go out there and get a good book. You know, they like to get their coffee and get a good book or some tea or whatever and cozy up and read. And I encourage you to still do that because you never know. You know, when all this goes down, you need to curl up with a good book. The reason why you want to get a book is because it allows you to imagine in your mind instead of just having pictures in front of you. You imagine what you're reading. And sometimes that stimulates the mind more. You know, you'd be surprised, especially if it's a good book. You get caught up in it, you know, and if you know, you know. Yeah. But you know, just reading literature from different countries, different time periods, different authors, you know, and they have some new stuff that comes out now too, that where you can read it and it's more contemporary, it's, you know, modern. It's what's going on right now, and you're like, okay, yeah, this is great. Like me, I love mysteries and stuff like that. Like I like to think about stuff, you know, figure things out, like murder mysteries, who done it, or you know, what happened, or you know, how are we going to solve this? I like stuff like that. But just reading, and I also like reading DIYs, just knowledge about things. I like survival books, learning how to survive in different areas, what to use, what to take. I like stuff like that. I like stuff that gives you good information. I want to buy a book about plants and what they can do for you. You know, how they can help you and stuff like that. Another one that I'll say, and I have a hard time doing it because I'm kind of stubborn when it comes to it. But it's a big one with us, with culture and ourselves, is trying new cuisines or trying new food. So experimenting dishes from different cultures, learning about them, you know, the ingredients, how to cook them and stuff. Like where I work at right now, we have a lot of Africans that work at where I work now, and you know, I'm always asking for the food, and I ask them, you know, how do you cook this? How do you cook that? You know, what's in this? What's in that? You know, a lot of them use ingredients from back home. They don't buy things from around here. They, you know, have it mailed to them or whatever, or you know, they go home and get it and bring it here. But I'm learning that food will taste different when you eat, you know, from different cultures. When you actually get something that's authentic from a certain culture, you realize how it became popular. Just like when people love Mexican food, right? But if you actually go to somebody that does authentic Mexican food or street tacos or things like that, and it's authentic, it tastes way different than going to certain restaurants. Or you know, people have craving for soul food. You know, sometimes you only want to get it from mama or grandmama's kitchen or whatever. But you have certain places around here that is so authentic. You know, it's just like, wow. Italian food. I love Italian food. That's my favorite. And when I can get it authentic, oh my God, I think it's just the best. You know, and I'm, you know, as I'm getting older, I'm learning about wines. So I like to pair it, you know, with wines and stuff. And I love sangrias. I'm just, you know, I want to go to Spain, you know, and learn their culture, you know, and learn their food and stuff like that. That's something I really, really want to do at some point. Now, with this one, it takes some time, of course, and you really have to commit to it. But in order to culture yourself, you have to learn new languages. So, you know, right now, of course, learning the Latin language is very important. Learning Hispanic culture and Hispanic language is important. Learning Asian languages, very important. German, French. There's so many doors that open up once you learn these things. You know, it's not necessarily, hold on just a minute. It's not necessarily a, hold on, I left something on. It's not necessarily I'm not gonna say it's a daunting task or anything like that, but it's something that's fun and, you know, something that can be very useful. You can there's jobs that open up. There's so many opportunities, events, but mainly, especially if you're American, there's a lot of jobs that open up for you. I know somebody right now, that's all they do is sit behind a desk all day and just answer questions from people of different countries. That's all she does, and she gets paid nice. She gets paid close to, I think she gets paid 6 figures to do it, and it's nice. I mean, you got to think about that. You're sitting at a seat all day, and you're just answering questions in a different language because you're bilingual. I think this one's fun for a lot of people, but we have to learn to respect it as well. And what I'm talking about is attending cultural events. A lot of people love, you know, we love attending cultural events, like when Atlanta hosts different festivals, or, you know, maybe some in your small town. We love attending them, but we have to start respecting it. You can't go and enjoy a culture and not respect the culture, you know, or not support the culture and things like that. But just going to different cultural events, you know, I would say like festivals, concerts, theater productions, and, you know, any other events that, you know, showcase, you know, different cultures. My favorite, of course, is going to like festivals in the city. You know, like when you go to the park or somewhere and they have like music and food and you know they're displaying their culture. In New York, of course, they have the Puerto Rican Day Parade. You know, they do stuff like that. In some areas, they have like gay pride parades for those type. You know, for those with that culture and whatnot, for the LGBTQ plus max, whatever it's called. Uh, you know, you have I think in San Francisco they have like a Asian Pacific Day or something like, I forget what it's called. But you know, in so many different areas, you can go and you can book a flight and go to these places and be immersed in the culture, you know, and learn a whole lot. And of course, being an African American, you know, of course, the main thing is to go back to Africa and learn about our culture and learn about our history and our people. With that being said, you know, segueing into another topic is culture yourself in history. I think the worst thing that we do now, especially on social media, is we get on here and we go on rants, but we don't do our history, we don't do our research. You know, of course, when it comes to race relations, that's the main one that we don't do our research on. People go on these rants and they don't understand the history of different races and cultures and what they've been through. Whether you're talking about Native Americans, whether you're talking about Asians, Europeans, Hispanics, Africans, you name it. You have to learn about the historical events and the historical figures from around the world. Like, learn about all of it. You know, you're on YouTube all day. All you gotta do is just type in certain things. You can just sit there and just listen and learn. You know, I like doing it. I do it all the time. You know, I'll sit there and watch like nature stuff, and then I'll just segue and be like, I just, you know, like today's MLK Day, so I can go on there and I can just go down a rabbit hole and learn so much about Martin Luther King. I can learn so much about the presidency and each president. Like, you can go on YouTube right now and it'll tell you about each president and what they did throughout their presidency and who they were as a person. This next one cannot be stated enough. And this is the one where it could be so irritating, because I think some people just do it intentionally because they just want to be like this. But the main thing you have to do is practice good manners and good etiquette when it comes to being cultured. That is what's really going to open up the doors for you. You know, I had to learn that growing up when I wanted to get a different job and I wanted to be in a different position. I was like, you know what, I got to start dressing differently. I got to start, you know, worrying about appearance, you know, and grooming myself and making sure I look a certain way, you know, so I don't just look, you know, raggedy and, you know, and I got to learn how to talk a certain way. Like I said, you know, this is how the conversation started, was with me telling you about how I talk. I had to learn that in order to open those doors and to get in certain positions, I got to make sure I'm carrying myself in a certain way to where I'm getting respect. And that's what you have to do when learning cultures. You have to make sure that you're practicing good manners when learning this stuff and good etiquette, because people of different cultures take that stuff serious. When I was, you know, when I was in Iraq, that was one of the main things that you notice. They do not play about their religion and they do not play about their culture. You do not disrespect it. And you go overseas and you notice that. You don't disrespect the culture. So you have to make sure you're practicing good manners and good etiquette and you're showing respect. Traveling to new places. So one of my biggest pet peeves is when everybody wants to travel and go to the beach, or go on a cruise, or go to Florida. Like, it's just such a cliche thing, and I probably sound grumpy or whatever, but it's just, for me, it's a pet peeve, because there's so many other places to explore. You know, you save all that money, you waste all that money just to go and do the same thing. When you can, you know, you can go to different countries or different parts of the world. You can get a passport, and you know, you can just really immerse yourself in different cultures. You can, you know, experience customs firsthand. You know, you really miss out. You know, and with me being former military and being in the Army, I was able to go and see these things, and like, it's a whole different world, a whole way of thinking. And even if you don't have the money, like I said, you can go on YouTube, you can type in a certain country, and you got people that'll do it for you with a camera. They will show you around Japan, they'll show you around Switzerland, wherever. You just want to kind of just culture yourself and learn, you know, that there's a world outside of your house, outside of your yard, you know, outside of your street, your community, you know, your city. There's a world out there. You can't be hard-headed and assume that this is it, especially being in a small town. Small town creates a small mind, and you have to understand that there's more out there than just this. There's way more out there. But the last thing I want to say is just be open-minded. You know, actively seek out perspectives different from your own, and be willing to learn from them. You know, just go and seek it. You know, and I have another video where we talk about understanding versus judging. It's best to go out and learn these, you know, go out and learn these cultures, understand why they do what they do, you know, get that different perspective. It'll open up your mind. It'll make you want to do more with yourself and do more with your life. But I'll say this much, especially with the way society is right now. I think we would do a whole lot better learning about each other, and I think that would help bring the impact of racism down. Because sometimes it's not about what you think you know, it's about what research you have done. But of course, I always say that's just my unsolicited advice. You can take it or leave it.